Superorganisms Worldwide Pop, 13 songs, 40 minutes long.
First try.
One take, Dan. That's what we called me in the biz. Superorganism are a very interesting band. I called them out in a music recommendations episode way back in
2018, because their self-titled was in 2018, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it could have been possible that I recommended them the year afterwards, but I liked their sort of randomness, its sort of like whimsical nature, it's sort of fun. It reminded me of if not necessarily the sound of early Gorillaz, the spirit behind early Gorillaz. Not necessarily for like a whole like animated band or an animated project kind of thing, but like you're playing with a lot of genres in order to like maximize how, there are certain like early Gorilla songs that sound like very spooky, but then there are also very like early Gorilla songs like Rehash that sound just like very like very happy and like like 19-2000 even that sound almost like whimsical compared to the Seaward Island that we're at now in the Gorillaz lore. So like I appreciate that about Superorganism. And in Worldwide Pop you have a project with a lot of collaborators, also featuring Chai from the Gorillaz lore. Super Gorillas. And and a bunch of other just different interesting tracks here. Definitely songs like there's a motif playing through this, which is that similar randomness and whimsy of not glitchiness that like bleeds into the sound of the album, but like certain songs be playing like Black Hole Baby, and then it'll just like end with like a TV track, and then it'll sort of like warp and go into a weird thing, and then the song will continue. So yeah, there's that glitchiness and chaos that acts as a motif, but the record is sort of, I guess Worldwide Pop is a good way to start at it. I think Worldwide Pop I'd really consider like the Avalanche's first record, but it's a good name for it because it has a lot of different elements that's taking from a lot of different parts of the world. It's generally kind of like a whimsical, happy, if a little bit sort of like twisted undertone pop music.
Yeah, I mean, it's glitchy, it's different. There's a lot of different sounds you get through this record, but as like a concept record, it's actually pretty cool in the way it is because it pulls from a lot of different areas too. Obviously, not just US stuff, but all over the world because you get a lot of different influences from indie, from Europe, from the Asias, and here and all that. So it's cool to hear that, and to make it cohesive in the way that they did is actually, again, it's impressive to do that because, like, example, in the middle of the record, Solar System and Into the Sun, two tracks that like I can tell what they're trying to do with it, like the influences that they have. They could easily make it chaotic to the point where it's like unlistenable, but they make it to where it's just that nice level of experimental indie pop, to where it's listenable and enjoyable, and both those tracks go together. And there's a lot going on in there too. Like you have a lot of features on both of those tracks, but they all go well together, and the tracks flow, and it stays within the album, within the constraints of the album. So it's impressive to hear that. I like it. It took me about 2 listens to really get into it. But I like some of the stuff that they did. Example, like Put Down Your Phone, I think is a cool like pop track in a way. Like it influences like with some neo pop stuff with some slower down stuff in there, and it's a great placement because you have Solar System Into the Sun, which are crazy tracks, and then you can slow it down a little bit, and then kind of bring it back up by the way that song interludes into crushed.zip. Love that name. And yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of cool sounds. There's a lot of cool things, and I think that with a group that is this big and it has so many features, they did very well with it. And I'm excited to hear kind of what direction indie pop goes, and to hear more people try to experiment like this and to pull from different genres, and pull from different influences, not just within the square of the US and related countries, but to pull from a bunch of different influences and stuff to get some different ideas. And I like that because the genre needs it. We need albums like this to really push the boundaries and everything. So
yeah,
it's fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked the penultimate song on the record, "Don't Let the Colony Collapse," because I love making things just sound terrifying. That's what I do in my life. But good morning, bad news. I think it's a really good sort of like wrapping up the album pop track that includes a lot of the experimentation, but again in a very palatable way, kind of like what I was talking about with earlier records in this review this week. And I think it ties it all together. But that's not to say, like, we mentioned a lot of tracks in the latter part of the album. The first part's really good as well. I think On and On, just after Worldwide Pop in the beginning, also does a really good job of incorporating pop from a lot of different places. Like, I saw elements of like K-pop and J-pop in addition to like European
100%.
pop
Yes.
in there. But it's done in an indie kind of way. Indie being like, okay, we're going to take all these things, make it our own as a band, but also not be afraid to be a little bit weird with it. But of course, modern
Exactly.
indie is such a different thing. Like, it's basically taken over a significant portion of pop music. If pop music is not very disco-y, funk, electronic sounding in that regard, especially house, as we've heard as of late, then it's very indie sounding. It's very like bedroom pop or, like TikTok pop kind of sounding. So it's important now more than ever that we have artists and bands and groups like Superorganism who are pushing the boundaries a little bit, because otherwise these genres become stale. And especially as I think this could be a really interesting decade for international music breaking into, as you're alluding to, the United States cinematic universe. It'd be really nice if we can start to get those subgenres within cultures, because obviously like J-pop and K-pop are not the only genres within Japan and Korea respectively. They have their own forms of indie and rock and rap, which goes very hard.
Mhm.
So like to see more cross collaboration of that across oceans and borders, that's great stuff. That's the stuff I really want to sink my teeth into over the next couple episodes we keep doing this.
Yes, you and me both. This year is damn good.
Yeah.
Dude, all I'm telling you is the award show is gonna be so fucking hard.
Yeah, we're gonna actually,
Absurd.
one of our break weeks coming up. I love when we do it like live planning, but one of our break weeks coming up, we're gonna have to actually do work. We just like won't do a podcast, but we're gonna have to sit down and get the doc up to date for the award show, because
Seriously.
okay.
Just music alone, it's absurd. And it's only gonna get better / worse.
I mean, we have enough we have enough mugshot awards to do an Audioface deluxe edition where part 2 was just that part of the show.
Oh, I can't wait for the mugshot.
Brackets are definitely returning for that.
Oh, 100% the bracket board, the infamous bracket board with legally redacted.
Arbitrary scale, pizza chains and brands. I'm gonna give this one of those like Pyology pizzas would have been really good for this, but in California Pizza Kitchen might also be kind of good for this. I was a little mean
I'm
about
giving this. Yeah. Oh, okay. I was gonna say this is a solid mod pizza for me.
Okay. I consider Mod and Pyology too similar, so I think I'm gonna give this I'm just gonna give this like a classic like New York style pizza, like a thin with a nice little bread underneath it, with the cheese like really nice and big. Get for like $4 even with inflation. On any corner till 4 a.m. Nice and reliable, representative of a city. I think I'm gonna get pizza after this. That's for sure.